How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffled Rowlitz, and yes, we are back to this again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're going to be talking about Pokemon rumors, leaks, and stuff like that. So, let's get right into it. Also, if you're wondering what's going on, I've been a bit flip-floppy about what to do with this channel, but it seems like you guys just want rumors and leaks and news and stuff like that, so that's what we're doing. I have been playing through Scarlet and Violet. I have played through the whole game. I've actually played through it twice now, and I have enjoyed it. It's been a blast. But we want to talk about what's coming next, right? What is the next thing for Pokemon now that we're done with the base games of Scarlet and Violet? Well, it's going to be DLC, right? That's the most likely next thing. It's what's being told to us by everybody, pretty much, including Riddler Coup, Centro, everyone that just has anything to say about these sort of things knows DLC is coming next. Question is, what's that DLC going to be about? Well, there is a massive theory, but none else than our boy Soul Silver Arc. Soul Silver is back again, as is per usual, to give us some juicy information about what we should expect and what we shouldn't expect. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a beverage, and let's go. Many don't believe Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC could be South Kalos. I don't totally either, but there's a few big potential hints that it really could be. Left is a data mine picture of Paldea, same lines in Area 0 as in the new area it's bordered off to. The right picture is of Arven's room. So, here we get to see a data mine version of the actual map. Now, this is the map of Paldea, the whole region. If you haven't played the game, then you don't recognize it, but if you have, you know what you're looking at right here. You know what all this is, with Mesagosa in the middle right there, right down underneath, like, the Area 0 zone. So there you go. So, pretty much the map we're used to. Now, the interesting part is, the way that, like, Area 0 is kind of tapered off, right? The way it's kind of, like, hidden away, is also similar to how this area on the top right here, this section, you guys can see this little section right here. If you look in the top right, like, right up, like, there, you will notice that there is a section that's kind of tapered off in such a way that it looks like something's supposed to be there, but we don't know what is meant to be there. And what could that be? Well, is one of those possible things Kalos? I don't know. If we look right here as well, you can see there is a land over there. This is inside of Arven's room. This is in his room, and there's literally a tapered off zone on the right there. Now, what would that area be? Well, there are two options, right? One of them is obviously going to be France. Logically, it would be that. We know that Paldea is based on literally Portugal and Spain. That's straight up what it's based on. Portugal on the, I guess on the western side here, and then the rest of this would be based on Spain. But then, what's the country bordering? Well, there's actually two countries bordering Spain specifically in that northern, kind of northeastern, northern tip. And that's specifically two countries, Andorra as well as France. Now, Andorra is a tiny little country. It's a little border country right in between the two, like just right on the, like in between, like juggled in between the two countries, right? And then you have France, which is just a big one. And what other, connection do we have to France? Well, Kalos. Kalos is based on France, and we know that logically speaking, it will be placed somewhere close to it in proximity here. So that's what we're looking at. It continues on and has this further post right here, which I'm going to go look into real quick. So what's this post about? Well, he says, I've had this DLC theory since July. I wasn't posting because I never thought leaks would spoil it much, but it seems they have, thanks to the good Lagger for putting it so nicely in this image. Did you know that Barcelona and Catalonia aren't actually present in the current Paldea? If you look right here, you've got Paldea, you got the DLC with Andorra, and also, interestingly, it looks like, yeah, that part of Spain is not included, right? It seems like Barcelona and that is just not there. Kalos would be further up there, if you look on the map right here. Kalos would be, like, further up, and, for anybody who just doesn't know geography, Andorra is just, nestled in between here. It's just kind of in its own little spot. You can see it right here. It's like right where my camera was blocking it. So it's right there, kind of nestled between the two. So yeah, again, it's a bit of a strange one, but I just want to point it out. And then we go over to the next point, which is the fact that Barcelona just isn't even included. The whole of it is just not there, which is interesting. But it is an interesting and generally strange point. You also have Valencia over here, which is, I guess, is included technically. I guess in Paldea it is there. But it continues on. The theory is simple one that has now been all but proven. I believe Catalonia, which is Barcelona and Andorra, will at least be one part of DLC. Some may think the town of Levincia is meant to represent Barcelona, but no, it's actually based off of Valencia, especially with all the modern buildings, which, yes, it is actually true. If you do look at what we have down there on the city, it does look more akin to, Valencia than it does Barcelona, which I guess would be more in terms of design. I guess you would be, more close to, like, more, old school, if that makes sense. Is there a chance that there could be some of southern France Kalos in this too? I don't actually want Kalos DLC, but I cannot deny that with all of this in mind, Part 2 of the DLC could extend further north into South Kalos, but Part 2 could instead be Canary or Balearic Islands, which, yes, it would make sense, because remember, Sword and Shield did a similar thing. In Sword and Shield, we got basically the Man of Isle, or Isle of Armor, right? Which, you know, is pretty obvious in the naming. So the Man of Isle, whatever you want to call it. And then we also had, I guess, the equivalent to, like, what would it be, Scotland, I guess, with the Crown Tundra? Something like that, give or take. Kind of the equivalent to Scotland, which was the Crown Tundra, which was attached to the land itself. So what we could have here, again, is an island part and a literal attachment, right? The island could be the Canary Islands, literally, you know, a few spread out islands that we have to explore, right? With literally surfing and gliding and all that bullshit. Meanwhile, the other part is an attached part, which we have attached to the literal Paldea region, right? It's not island, it would be attached to it, and that would be of Barcelona and Andorra, which would be right there. And then possibly some hints to Kalos could be also included, if you want to put it like that. So he says, but Part 2 could instead be Canary or Balearic Islands. DLC will need to just be just expensive open world. Wait, need to be expansive, not expensive, geez. And open world as the base game Paldea, so more space makes more sense. This is especially true when we see this new leaked screenshot of the Paldea map, where the top right seems to have an inaccessible area marked in these exact regions. This may just be the last big theory for Pokemon Scarlet Violet. It's been such a beautiful and awful journey, but it's been so much fun to grow and produce content for you all. But yeah, it has been a great journey, and that journey is not over just yet, guys. We still have loads to still talk about. There's still loads of things to go through and discuss, which brings us back to the original post here. It says, the maps clearly mark it as an already existing area in the Pokemon world. The border really gives it away. If it's not called Kalos, it may be an extended part of the Paldea region, where Kalos should be IRL. Also, DLC might have an expanded Area 0, since both are marked off with the same lines. Another pretty big hint comes from Lucario and Light88. Check out this thread, which shout out to Light, by the way. That man is a literal legend. But he says here, this is more of a coincidence to me. These trainers are literally right next to the border of this new area, and they have all the Kalos dragons. Now, what does he talk about? Well, basically, if we go over to that one post we just talked about, so huge hint from my friend Lucario about the connection between Paldea and Kalos. Here you will find 3 dragon tamers with Gudra, Noivern, and Dragalge. Just next at the inaccessible DLC area, 3 Pokemon from Generation 6. Interestingly, yes, we have what? We have Noivern, obviously, a Dragon Tamer, Dragalge with Dragon Tamer as well, and a Gudra with Dragon Tamer, which is interesting because it's right next to the locked-off area, the locked-off zone, to the place that would be legitimately closest to the real life of Kalos, which would be France in this case, right? So, again, very strange, a very interesting little things people have found. It's interesting. Again, does it mean it has a connection? No, of course not. But is it possible? You never know. So we continue on. Lastly, the third legendary, and I'm not the only one who reads this description and looked at its drawing and said hexagonal plates, sounds a lot like Zygarde. We also have Paradox Pokemon this generation. Could this new third legendary be a Paradox based off of Zygarde? Findings on it. So you can see some posts about it from a few different people. Bakwan here says, disregard the letter amount. With the hexagons and the Ouroboros-esque creature, it does tie in slightly to Zygarde's 50% form. Now, what are they talking about here? Well, basically, there has been this sort of, I guess, image hidden in the game of, or actually, it's not found hidden in the game, but it's in the game, right? It's not like secret or anything. But there is this image which references more or less the third legendary, which is a giant, like, ball, like just a giant ball. And people are kind of trying to figure out what that is. It being based on Jörmungandr. Or Midgard and the World Serpent, and I'm not even gonna try to, like, I know Swedish, and I'm not even gonna try to fucking read that. Dwelling in the world seas, encircling the earth, having bit its own tail. So yeah, the snake that kind of bites its own tail, which is interesting. But either way, so the mention of the hexagonal plates makes me think Zygarde, even if it doesn't fit the 6 letters. Again, it's kind of same principle again. And then forgot to add, it wouldn't be too weird considering Zygarde's forms includes a dog, a cell thing, a serpent, and a humanoid thingy. So it could be possible. Again, will they finally give some love to Zygarde? I don't actually think so. I disagree with the idea that we're going to be seeing anything to do with Zygarde. And the reason I say this is mostly because Zygarde to me feels like a Pokemon that's never going to get a completed story to it. Now, what are we talking about? Well, this is the image we were referring to, right? So a very big development on this. This next specific piece of info is late game too, but it's not that spoilery. They know the third legendary's name, and it's 100% the cause of the energy crystallization. So basically, it's the reason for terrestrialization happening. Through the hexagonal plates on its shell, it's going to be a turtle, in my opinion. It says, we've determined the energy crystallization is linked to the being we call Nanana. The interlocking hexagonal plates that compromise Nanana's shell must somehow cause this. And here, basically, there's a post about this. Happy first week of Scarlet and Violet. Have you found the third legendary yet? How about in HD? Details, its tail seems to be like water, and there's a ship on the waves. You can see right here, this is the ball. And you can see there's kind of like the shape of almost a lizard, something like that. The shape of that up there, almost like a dragon or something on the top. But it's a very strange ID for a Pokemon, I'm not gonna lie. It's a very out there type of ID. But yeah, this is basically the one we're referring to. And this is the thing that basically brought terrestrialization to this region. It's what brought it into the world in this case. I'll admit the third legendary connection is very loose, and it probably doesn't have any connection, but who knows. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll be diving deeper in the coming months. And also, alternatively, my old theory of the DLC being based on Barcelona and Catalonia and Andorra is still very much in play. The literal IRL map extends into France, but this is the Para Pokemon world, so they could stretch the land there and not mention Kalos at all. Which is true, because that's one of the things is they don't really like to bring back that kind of stuff. They like referencing stuff with small, insignificant things. That's something they love doing. But if we're looking at this in like the large scale form, they don't really want to, show off stuff that, has already happened or they've already done. Because this is the thing. They want you to focus on what you have in front of you, what is the current thing. They don't want you to look back. They don't care about you looking back. They will only care about you looking back in nostalgia if they're trying to sell you a plushie or if they're trying to sell you a remake. Otherwise, they're trying to make you buy the new stuff. They're trying to make you buy the new Pokemon, the new things, the new games, the new DLC, everything. They're trying to focus on the next thing, right? Which in this case is Paldea and how they can extend and make Paldea bigger and larger and everything and add more to it and include more Pokemon and yada, yada, yada. You get the point. All that sort of stuff. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think they're going to focus on anything outside of that. I don't think they're going to go to Kalos. I do think we're going to get... I hope I'm wrong. I would love to see Kalos featured in this. I'm not trying to say it's not going to happen, but I'm trying to be, on the realistic side of things. And in my case, I do think being on the realistic side feels more like they're not going to go down this path, which, of course, it's always possible they might do. But yeah, that's some of the first things we had to look at today in terms of the DLC, because, it's just some of the most important stuff that I guess we had to mention is this stuff right here. Shout out to Soul, by the way, for compiling this. My man is still out here doing God's work, even though he really doesn't need to. But yeah, I just thought we would mention that as well. And also, I want to include something really quick, which is about the Paradox Pokemon. There is some interesting stuff to mention about that. So here we have something that I think you guys will enjoy. And it's about specifically all the paradoxes and some of the information that you may not have already realized about them. So here we go. I'm 100% convinced the Pokemon designers for Scarlet and Violet used at least these 4 beta Pokemon, or Proto, as inspiration and reworked them into these final versions we got in Gen 9. Which, yes, is very true. And here's what he says. And this is something that I've already said in the past, but they are definitely using these prototype and beta designs from the past, from Gold and Silver beta designs. They're definitely using them for brand new Pokemon. And this is definitely proven already with Surfetched. Surfetched literally already existed back in the prototype version of Pokemon Gold and Silver. And it existed for real in Sword and Shield. So here is what it says. Proto inspiration and reworked them into the final version Gen 9. I also added my artwork of them just to see what they could have looked like with official art. So, of course, Geographical getting, an evolution. That's obviously a one. We have, of course, as well, the new, I do not know what, the crane. That one as well seemed to have a version that could have existed in the past. You can see it like a little, the crane just kind of holding a little bebe or whatever. Same thing going on right here. We got just the existence of it. The giant frog. Now this one was a surprising one. But yes, it definitely is a similar situation where, yeah, it's real now. And same thing goes here for, I guess, the original ID for Wooper and Emotes and stuff like that. Yep, pretty much got that too in one way or shape. They're kind of a changed version of it. He says, these are also Pokemon Scarlet Violet Pokemon that I believe came from reworked Protos. However, the connection here are much more loose. I've also seen people suggest other Pokemon, more designs that also could have been used, but I think it's barely a connection, like Poplio and Cruz. So yeah, I guess you could say that one of the, that this one's connected here as well. I think this was original Sneasel, which then turns into this design. Possible, again, no guarantee. Donphan, like a version of Donphan as well here. Kind of can see that, definitely. Same thing here with the original, Apom and stuff. Could be Graphii, I don't really know. We'll have to wait and see. Lastly, there is this Gen 1 Proto Magneton Evo, which is crazy because an Italian YouTuber, Sidonia, had this exact theory over 2 years ago that this proto Pokemon was an Evo of Magneton with legs. He even got it drawn up by 50 Shades of Helio, a theory at 8 minutes and 30 seconds into that video. And here's basically, yeah, that's sort of the same ID turned real. So one of the three things happened here. Either Game Freak saw this theory in art by Sidonia and used the ID to create Sandy Shocks, or Sidonia guessed exactly what the Proto Magneton Evo was, or this is just an insane coincidence. Anyway, if they notice any other potential, if you notice any other potential rework ones, just send them that way, because there is a lot of potential here. A lot of potential, okay? And again, this is all one of those cases of they will reuse IDs. They will go back and take stuff that they had and bring it back, okay? So a lot of stuff like this, you gotta just remember that it exists and there is a possibility that it might return. And that's the number one thing you have to keep in mind with this stuff. So now that we're at the end of the video, guys, I wanna just thank you all for watching. I wanna just give a quick little heads up, which is, of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't noticed, I haven't been posting a lot lately. I just played Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I didn't really make a lot of videos on it. It just wasn't really doing that well for me on my end. And I didn't want to just rush to get stuff out because I was extremely just stressed out with the game release. And I tried to get videos out for you guys, but it just didn't seem to really connect. Plus, I've been going through some changes and some stuff in terms of content and what direction we're going in and stuff like that. This channel, going forward, we're sticking to rumors and stuff. I realize that seems to be what you guys enjoy the most. So we're sticking to that. We're not going to change the game in any of that way. But we are focusing on Ruffle Rattle Plays, my other channel, for gameplay and stuff. That's where I'm doing, like, ROM hacks and things like that. But on this channel, you can expect the usual stuff you've gotten for the last 6 years, which is rumors, leaks, as well as just regular random top 10 information, breakdowns, etc., and live streams, of course, as well, which we might be doing one later tonight, because I'm celebrating my 25th or 24th. Jeez, I'm not 25 yet. 24th birthday. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching. I'll be seeing you guys the next time. Peace out and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day.